Good afternoon. I'd like to call to order the November 8th meeting of the Oklahoma City Water Utilities Trust. Next item on the agenda is the approval of the minutes. The minutes are in the packet. Do any of the trustees have any comments or questions regarding the minutes? Seeing none, is there a motion for approval? We have a motion, a second. Please vote. And it passes unanimously. Next up is the consent docket, item 3. There are 11 items on it. Most are contracts of various types, engineering and construction contracts. Are there any items on the consent docket that the trustees would like to consider individually, or any questions regarding them? Seeing none, is there a motion for approval? A motion is second. Please vote. And it passes unanimously. Next up is a concurrence docket. It's a amendment for, I know one of Mr. Stone's favorite projects, a pedestrian bridge. There are no AQUIT funds involved in this. It's a city contract. We're just concurring with it. Any questions regarding the item? Is there a motion? We have a motion and a second. Please vote. And it passes. There are no emergency contracts. Moving to items for individual consideration, we have a presentation on the wastewater treatment plant's biosolids and odor management. Mr. General Manager.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We have a short presentation today from Joy Cody to talk about the plan to control some of the odors in our biosolids management at the wastewater treatment facilities. This is a long-term plan, and we have a couple of phases. Short-term, we're probably going to spend most of our time in Deer Creek, but she's going to give you the overview and then ask for your consideration and move forward.
Oops, yeah. How do I go back? Okay, just kidding. Thank you. Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman and trustees. Like Mr. Browning said, my name is Joy Cote, and I'm a Civil Engineer 3 in the Utilities Department, and my primary responsibility is managing the wastewater treatment plant projects. Today, I'd like to present on Project ST0154, our biosolids and odor management project. Our project objectives. We worked with a consulting team of CPMY and Black & Veatch to create a master plan of sorts for 4 of our AQUIT facilities, the North Canadian, Chisholm Creek, and Deer Creek wastewater treatment plants, as well as the Witcher lift station. You'll notice South Canadian wastewater treatment plant is not on this study because as a part of our overall improvements project, ST0138, odor and biosolids were already incorporated into that design. Like Mr. Browning said, we have 2 phases, short-term improvements and long-term improvements. Today, we will focus on the short-term improvements. There are 2 items on the docket for consideration today. One of them is the short-term alternatives evaluation report that sums up all of these improvements for our 4 facilities. And the second item is an engineering amendment to begin design on our Deer Creek wastewater treatment plant improvements, which are our highest priority. Our short-term improvements needed to be implemented within 2 years to address critical needs, must have a lower capital cost, and may or may not accommodate our long-term solutions. Our long-term solutions would build upon our short-term solutions in a phased approach as funding became available. This slide shows a few of our alternatives that we evaluated for solids dewatering, solids stabilization, and odor treatment. Regarding our short-term improvements, we have Phase 1A and Phase 1B. Both of these projects take place at the Deer Creek wastewater treatment plant because that is our highest priority after going through our evaluation and recommendations. The 2 projects combined will cost about $14 million spread across our CRP budget. Our Phase 2 projects will take place at Chisholm, North Canadian, and Witcher. From our schematic here, there are different processes shown for Phase 1A and Phase 1B. Phase 1A includes all three solids dewatering, such as modifying our belt filter press hoods, solid stabilization, such as chemical injection, and then odor management, such as the vaporization system for our equalization basins. In this table on the next slide, we've included our Phase 2 improvements for our remaining facilities. You will notice that Chisholm Creek and Witcher do not have biosolids improvements specifically because these two facilities do not dewater or stabilize sludge. And with that, I thank you for your time and attention, and I'll open it up for questions.
So the Deer Creek facility is within, a 5-iron of the Bethany War Acres facility.
Yes.
And I've always believed that we've had more superior odor control facilities at Deer Creek with the covering of the primary, back in the day when we had the biodiscs, and those were all enclosed in the buildings and such. And I know there are times when there were odor complaints that I was not convinced that they were coming from Deer Creek. And I know you're doing some things to address Deer Creek.
Yes.
But are our neighbors to the south going to, what's the condition of their facility?
I would have to do a little research and come up with an answer for that.
I mean, I just, we could be, if we're spending $14 million out there and there's still odors and they're not coming from our area, I mean, I'm not saying it's a bad expenditure. We've got to take care of our own facilities, but it may not solve the ultimate problem.
So, Mr. Chairman, we actually put sensors at the fence line so that we know where the odors are coming from, and some of the odors are being generated from our facilities. So these improvements will help us manage those odors, and also in the future would distinguish us from the other treatment facility if odors are generated, so that we can be good neighbors.
Okay, very good. Thank you.
Other questions? Perfect. Thank you.
All right, so we are looking to receive we have action items on A2 and 3. And so the first is on item A2 is receive the alternative development and evaluation from CP&Y. So is there a motion to receive that? And it's approved. Item A3 is an amendment number 1 to the contract for engineering services with CP&Y for biosolids and odor management services. Is there a motion for that contract amendment? We have a motion and a second. Please vote. And that is approved unanimously. Item B is a resolution ratifying the actions of the general manager and declaring an emergency, ratifying the action of the general manager in awarding an engineering contract to Kimberly Horn for project SE0047 emergency sanitary sewer improvements. Now, this is an area along Main Street and 6th Street along Western that received TIF dollars, and we received those a month ago maybe?
Yes.
For some sanitary sewer improvements over there to facilitate some development, and I assume this is emergency is done so that we could get those projects in place?
Yes, sir. It was imperative that we move this contract along quickly because there are projects under construction. So we really needed to get the design completed and get it under construction sooner than later. So we have some areas there that are currently overloaded. And so to keep those areas from becoming an environmental issue, we went ahead and executed or authorized the work for the engineering to begin, and this ratifies that action.
Very good. Any questions regarding the emergency resolution? I believe that'll take 4 votes, is that correct?
So we pass the resolution and then we move for the emergency?
No,
Or do you have to
this
do it
is,
separate?
This ratifies, yes.
Thank you.
it's one motion. All right. We have a motion and a second. And it passes. Any items from trustees this afternoon? All right. Mr. General Manager.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just have a short report on lake levels. They have improved. Hefner is just under 5 feet below full pool. Prior to the release from Canton, we were over 7 feet below full pool. So our plan seemed to work. Canton is now 5.2 feet below full pool, so it dropped about 2 feet as expected. Draper is improving slowly. They're 9.8 feet below full pool, and Atoka and McGee Creek are both around 6 feet below full pool. Hopefully, we'll get some rain down there here in the near future to help fill those up. And that's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
Any questions of Mr. Browning? Seeing none, I'm not aware of any citizens have signed up to be heard. No further business, therefore we are adjourned.